Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It, the series where I share my review and my opinion on different video games that I've experienced. Today's video is about the game called Odin Sphere Leifthrasir, the remastered and extended version of the old PlayStation 2 game. Odin Sphere is an action RPG game developed by Vanillaware, the studio I previously mentioned on my Muramasa video. The game was originally published by Atlus in 2007 in America and in 2008 by Square Enix. In 2016, the game got an HD release by Atlus, but once again it was remastered by Vanillaware themselves. The game was available for Sony's consoles. As I mentioned, the original was a PlayStation 2 exclusive, but the remastered version was released for the PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, and PlayStation 4. Now I know what you're wondering, what is Odin Sphere Leifthrasir? Odin Sphere is a unique game where you're playing as Alice, a little girl who owns a cat named Socrates, and apparently she loves to read. As Alice, you move around her attic and you can read books that tell a story. Once the game begins, there's only one book available, but the more you read and play through its story, the more books become available for Alice to read. The first book is the story of the Valkyrie. At this point, I would like to advise you that I will be diving into spoiler territory. However, I will not spoil the entire plot of the game, and I will not be mentioning key factors or events that took a very crucial part in the story. With that being said, time to meet our first protagonist. Gwendolyn is one of Odin's children. During the war, Odin's daughter Griselda falls in combat from a warrior who uses the power of darkness. Gwen arrives late to prevent her sister's death, but as a dying gift, Griselda gives her spear made by Cypher to Gwen. Gwen falls from the knight, but to her surprise, he spares her life, claiming that there has been enough blood shed, and claiming her life will be pointless. Gwen is desperate for her father's recognition and tries to offer her best services to him. Odin requests of her to fetch him the witch of the forest, as she knows the secret to use the cauldron, a weapon that is capable of destroying the world. Gwen successfully does so, but out of the blue, Odin appears and drops a bomb about the witch being the last of the Valentine's tribe, and how she is his daughter from another mother. While Odin was trying to find a way to learn the witch Velvet's secret, Velvet was kidnapped by Odin's right-hand man and was going to be used as a sacrifice to a dragon. Gwen rushes to save her sister. However, her acts were against the Lord's order, and as a punishment, Gwen was set into a deep slumber, and whoever awakens her, she will become his wife and make everything possible to make him happy, despite whether or not she agrees, a punishment every Valkyrie has to follow. Gwen awakens, and she was surprised to see the Black Knight in front of her. Since he awakened her, she is his. Nevertheless, the Black Knight Oswald treats her with respect. He claims he doesn't want her to love him because of the rules of the spell, and that she is free now. Needless to say, this act affected Gwen. He gives her the ring as part of the promise to do all he can to protect her, and tells her he has to go on a mission and that he will be back. Gwen recognizes the ring as the key that can awaken the cauldron. Gwen proceeds to visit her father's kingdom, however everyone seems to be trying to kill her. After successfully proceeding deep into the kingdom, she was told that Odin himself requested her death. Gwen says that there is something wrong, and she proceeds to find Odin's throne. Once she reaches him, she sees her father, however he is possessed by Brigin, Odin's former right-hand man, who was sent by the Queen of the Dead to stop Odin. Gwen defeats the possessed Odin. Odin witnesses the ring on her hand and requests Gwendolyn to hand it over. She hands the ring over to Odin, and he explains the deal he made with Oswald. Odin then proceeds to restore Gwen's honor and commends her. After learning all of this, Gwen refuses to stay with Odin, and she returns to her new home waiting for Oswald, who has been gone for a while. She was informed he went to the Fire Kingdom, to which she goes. She meets the Inferno King and learns about what happened between him, Odin, and Oswald. Gwen saves Oswald from Death's hand, and was also informed about his fate and his connection to the Queen of the Dead. Gwen returns to the kingdom and was informed that the Fairy Kingdom had the ring. She goes there and begs the Queen Mercedez to give her the ring, but she denies and they fight. Gwen returns to her house and was told that Oswald was claimed by the Queen of the Dead. She has only one solution, to ask her dad to show her the path to the world of the dead. She goes to Odin, begging him to show her the way. He accepts only if she hands him over the ring. For the first time, Gwen denies Odin, but says that if he shows him the way, upon her return, she will give him the ring. She finds the Queen of the Dead and requests for Oswald's return. The Queen denies and they both fight. Gwen uses her all to bash the queen, but runs out of power. Odin comes to their rescue and brings them back. He then asks for the ring, but Gwen denies and claims that he can have the ring after he kills her. Odin is annoyed, but Oswald's interference prevents him from doing anything, and so he lets them both go. Oswald and Gwen are now together and they confess their feelings. With this, the next book becomes available for Polaris, and it's the Pooka book. The story begins by introducing us to a new hero, Prince Cornelious of Titania, who seems to be in love with the witch of the forest, Velvet, something that the king does not approve. The two argue and they go to bed due to it being late. The prince awakens into a new form and into the world of the dead. This form is known as Pooka. Pooka are people who are cursed and they have the shape of the beast. A mysterious voice gives the prince a sword and wishes him good luck. The sword is made of cipher, and with it he successfully reaches the Queen of the Dead's place with the help of another dead person in exchange of helping him escape as well. He successfully beats the queen and manages to escape into Odin's kingdom, where he is captured. He is trying to explain the situation to them, but they do not believe him. Princess Griselda claims his sword. They tell him that if he is who he claims to be, then he should fight Brigand and claim his horn. They hand him his sword and he ventures around the kingdom to find him. With that done, Odin acknowledges Cornelius and he shows him the way. He returns to Titania, where he sees his body walking around. He approaches his father in order to tell him who he was, but when he shot the sword, the king was frightened and calls his guard. Confused and shocked, he escapes from Titania and rushes to the forest to meet his doppelganger who went to break Velvet's heart. He finds his doppelganger and beats him up. It turns out he was Velvet's twin brother, Ingwe. Back in Titania, a wizard recognizes him through his new form and tells him to fight off a dragon who was attacking Titania. He successfully does so, and he is soon informed that Velvet was captured and was in trouble. He sees his enemy, who was the guy that he helped escape from the netherworld, and he was plotting the world's end. He rushes to fight off the sorcerers and their pet dragon who kidnapped Velvet, and with the help of Ingwe, he rescues her. He tries to escape before Velvet awakens, but she recognizes him and requests that they stay together by their side. This is the point where the third book becomes available, the story of the fairies and Mercedez. The story of Mercedez begins with the war between fairies and Odin troops. Her mother, the queen, Elfaria, hunts her the crossbow and tells her that she should go frog hunting. Unfortunately, the war went wrong for the fairies and the queen has fallen. Before passing, she entrusts the kingdom to her, and if anything were to happen, her cousin Melvin was there for her support. A dragon attacks the kingdom, and she approaches the dragon in order to fight. She fights off the dragon and came across a wise frog who seems to know a lot more about the world. The frog helps her, and in return he wants a kiss so that his curse can be undone. She first accepted, but then she dodges to give her end of the bargain. She returns to the castle and she sees Melvin with a certain knight chatting in the distance. She was informed that Melvin was trying to claim the kingdom for himself, as Elfaria, the former queen, should have made him the king instead. Things though end unexpectedly as another dragon attacks the land. The dragons demand that whoever slayed the previous dragon should meet him on top of the mountain, otherwise he will burn every single part of the forest. Mercedes knows she is the one the dragon seeks, and so she sets off to meet him. Upon her arrival, the dragon mocks her and fights her off, but to no result, as the new queen was more than a match to him due to her crossbow being made of cipher. The frog from before arrives to her and tells her things are bad within the kingdom. A major fight between Melvin's follower and hers ended, however the losses were severe. Mercedes flies to Titania to seek aid, but she was not welcome. The wizards attack them, and with the help of the frog, they managed to beat them off. The frog though was heavily injured, and Mercedes gave him a kiss. This reveals the frog's true identity. He then thanks her and sets off on his own journey, claiming that Mercedes should wake up and realize she has to act like a queen and not like a little kid. The two take different paths, claiming that they shall meet again. Mercedes is ready and seeks a solution to take down Odin. She travels to the world of the dead to find Brom, the blacksmith who made the ciphers in the first place. The Queen of the Dead tries to stop them but fails. They return to the kingdom. Brom claims that he needs a certain flame from the Fire Kingdom in order to empower the weapons. They go to the Fire Kingdom and get the fire. However, the Inferno King of the area is mad and tries to stop them, but it was pointless. With a new weapon, Queen Mercedes finds all the warriors willing to fight and attack Odin's troops. Mercedes not only beat Odin, but she also broke his weapon. She then demands that Odin should return to his land, never to set foot on hers, and that he should give her the ring, and that in doing so, his life shall be spared. Odin hands the ring over and leaves. Queen Mercedes was now a name to be remembered. With Mercedez ending, Alice gets a new book to read, The Black Knight. Oswald was given the cipher blade by Melvin and was tasked to kill a friendly dragon on top of a mountain. Before he slayed the dragon tried to tell him to be aware of the blade and that Melvin is not his father, and he explains what happened to his parents. Before leaving his last breath, the dragon tells Oswald to follow the blue bird if he wishes to have a happy ending. He returns to the fairy kingdom and was sent from Melvin to seek Odin's secret within his palace. Whilst in the palace, Oswald learned that Odin's troops plan on attacking the fairy kingdom, and he also notices Princess Gwendolyn. Gwen leaves the scene, but a blue feather drops on the ground. He returns to the fairy kingdom and tells of his findings. The battle was soon going to take place, and Melvin tasked Oswald to join the fairy forces. Oswald, doing the best he can, defended the kingdom. However, a Maya, aka a Green Reaper, appears in front of him, informing him that his time was up. Oswald was confused. He was told his life was traded for the powers of darkness, and because of that, his time was up. Oswald defeats the Reaper, and since he was tired, he returns to the palace. He found a dying Melvin and proceeds to ask questions seeking answers. Melvin told him that he was just a tool to him and nothing else. Oswald was tired physically and broken mentally, and the Maya claimed his life. He awakens in the netherworld, hunted by those who killed. Oswald was ready to give up, but he saw a vision of a blue bird. He gets up on his feet with little to no motivation and proceeds to that false dream. He comes across the Queen of the Dead, who torments him as his blade, the Sapphire, can't harm her, and his power of darkness can also not harm her due to their origins being here. An unexpected appearance of Odin in the Nether leads the Queen to command Oswald to kill him, and that in exchange she will stop tormenting him. Feeling used again, Oswald proceeds to fight Odin and defeat him. Odin offers him a new deal: spare him and he shall show him the way back to the living. Back in the kingdom, Odin bargains with Oswald in order to kill a dragon. Oswald denied a tower, a sapphire weapon, money, but agreed on his daughter Gwen's hand. Oswald ventures to the dragon's area and kills him. By doing so, a ring drops off the sorcerer's head. Odin demands the ring, but Oswald claims that was never part of their deal, and that if he wishes to go back on the deal they made, he is ready for the second round. Odin tells Oswald where he hid the sleeping Gwen, and Oswald goes to find her. The sorcerers of Titania steal Gwen away from her bed, and Oswald rushes to save her. He defeats the three wizards, but he was told that the princess was in another castle, the Kingdom of Fire. Again, Oswald goes there and meets the Inferno King, who was mad as Gwen was meant to be his wife, and their wedding was a political stunt. Annoyed by how he and Odin see Gwen as a tool, Oswald defeats the king, who seemed to be really in love with her. Oswald takes Gwen, but offers his services to the king. If he was ever needed, he should be there to help him. He then gives Gwen the keys to break the spell. With the keys, Alice gets the 5th book of Velvet's Tale. Velvet's Tale begins with the promise Cornelious made to see her again. Ingwe, Velvet's twin brother, reminds her that their bloodline is cursed to die, so she shouldn't keep her hopes up. She goes to a dragon claimed to know it all and seeks help. The dragon tells her her fate is written. However, in the Nether, there is a hope to change her fate. However, he cannot say much, as soon a Black Knight will come to claim his head, in order for the Fairy Kingdom to see his power. Velvet leaves, and with the help of a sorcerer, she makes her way into the Netherworld in search of the text. The Queen of the Dead finds them and tries to stop them from escaping by sending her Reapers. Odin appears in the Nether and saves Velvet. Velvet notices a skeleton figure claiming to be the former Valentine King and her grandfather, who escaped the Nether and seeks to use the cauldron again to destroy the world. Velvet makes her way to the Fairy Kingdom and requests the ring for the cauldron from Queen Mercedez. She denies and the two fight. Velvet defeats Mercedez and takes the ring. Mercedez tells her that the ring will bring the world's end and that the Prince of Valentine, her brother, gave them the ring. Surprised by that, Velvet gets the ring and leaves. She tries to talk to Ingwe, but he shuts her off. Velvet makes her way to the cauldron and puts it to sleep. She then goes back to the Dragon's Mountain and she sees the all-known dragon Slade and another dragon next to it. The dragon attacks her without letting her talk. Velvet beats the dragon thanks to her cipher chain, and then the two talk. Velvet says she was told by the dragon before he died that she should come here and meet him. She hands him over the ring and tells him to protect it. The dragon was surprised by that, but told her that Odin's troops were nearby. She told him they were hunting her and that she will voluntarily go to them as she knows that the ring is now safe with him. Odin's people decide to offer Velvet as a sacrifice, but Gwendolyn betrays Odin's commands and saves her. By doing so, Gwen was cast with a sleeping spell. Back in the Pooka village, Velvet was told about Gwen's fate and she wants to help her. She meets Odin and her grandfather at the same place. The three fight and Odin and Velvet win the fight, with the king giving the 7th and final verse of the curse spell to her. She then returns to the Pooka village and was told that the Prince Cornelious was transformed into a Pooka. She decides to visit Titania to see what happened, but falls into a trap of the 3 wizards and a dragon. She was rescued by Cornelious. Ingwe ventures to the Queen of the Dead and they agree that he will take her army to take down Odin's kingdom. A big reveal then happens. The 5th and final hero book ends, and then Armageddon is revealed as the final playable book. This book I wish not to spoil, but let's just say the book holds information about the prophecy stating the world's end. A great book that reveals the end of each of the heroes' tale. For those who wish to get the true ending in Armageddon, they shall use Prince Cornelius first, Oswald second, Mercedez third, Velvet fourth, and last but not least Gwendolyn. However, for more trophies, another run should be made. However, the order of the heroes should not be the one mentioned prior. My small hint is to remember who is related to who. Finishing Armageddon will give Alice the last book that is pretty much a cutscene. Finishing the game unlocks 2 more capabilities. The first one is simple but significant and allows the heroes to access the vault of the other heroes. This is done by opening the box and pressing triangle to swap in betweens. The other one is the Churning Rift of the World. This is a dungeon where the players can select any of the 5 heroes and fight 30 boss levels. However, the player cannot access the vault, nor the shop, to purchase healing items. The player should be ready for a tough challenge. The final thing I should mention is that there is a game mode known as Classic Mode, where the player can experience the 2007 PS2 game without the polished and improved gameplay and graphics. That's a lot of story, and someone may have noticed these stories interconnect with each other through the game. The game offers a selection where all acts and chapters are placed in the right order. The story is really enjoyable and will guarantee to take 30 to 40 hours, including the Platinum Trophy. Well, with all the story covered, we shall move to the gameplay. The gameplay differs between the characters, but some stuff remain the same. Every hero moves around with either the keypad or L3. X is used for jumping and double jump. Holding down X will allow some heroes to hover in the air. Cornelious spins his blade, Oswald fades out in a dark portal, Velvet uses her chains to swing around like Spider-Man, Gwendolyn flies in a straight line for a while, and Mercedez can float for as long as she wishes, and unlike Gwendolyn, she can go up, down, left and right. R1 is used for dodging and cancelling out attacks. Dodge gives invincible frames. R1 is used to absorb Photon energy, and square is the main melee attack. Each hero has a square up and square side specials. They also possess a charge square down attack. Again, each hero differs and some of the abilities are way different than the previous ones. Triangle is used to open the menu. During that, the player can equip items, drink potions, use alchemy spells, and others. Circle is used for special abilities. The player can receive special abilities from exploring the map. Some are passive, some use power energy, and some use PP energy. These skills, other than the passives, are equipping the special attack. Casting the attacks can be done through L1 that opens a menu with all the skills. However, if you wish for a more quick time event, you can equip them into fast slots like circle and a direction or circle and a direction given from the keypad. They can even use elite style inputs used in the fighting games like quarter circles and half a circle. Magic abilities mostly use PP energy, while close combat attacks use power energy. There's also additional skill trees that use level points to purchase. These abilities are mostly passive. Experience is gained by fighting enemies or by eating food. Food can be acquired from fruits, restaurants and others. Players can plant seeds and then use L1 and square to release Photon to grow the trees. Outside of that, each hero has 7 chapters of story and each chapter has 7 acts. The first 2 acts are cutscene, the third is a playable run of the map, the fourth is a cutscene where they reach the boss, and the fifth is the boss encounter, giving the last 2 being cutscenes. During the levels there's always items to be found, 2 mini-bosses, 1 challenge encounter, and the final boss. Potions can be powered up by fusing them with berries. Each level is shown on the side of the potion bottle. Overall, it's a great game. The story is quite nice and interesting. The art style is unique like every single Vanillaware game. The music selection is surprisingly good and the characters are lovable. The design of George Kamitani once again shines through the game. My main problem though is the selection the game made. Since the 5 tales interconnect, it is important to state that some boss encounters, if not all, happen over and over and over again. The main difference is the approach to each one of them. Some boss battles are fun to do them again and again, so that's not a problem, but some others are not as good. For example, I can fight the dragons as many times as I need, but I do not like the sorcerer battles. Not that they are hard, but because they keep running around using their invisible frames. It's just annoying. Last but not least, every cutscene is full as voice acted, which is really nice. Overall, the game is near perfect. The main flaw is its reuse of its boss levels and the sceneries. It offers a lot in terms of gameplay and story, and it reaches a new high with Armageddon. It's a pleasant experience, and if someone is down for exploration, then the plot will come within 37 hours or so. If you're going for the Platinum Trophy though, then keep in mind to keep track of which cooking recipe you already had with any of the characters. Trust me, if you go for it, you'll know what I mean. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments below if you like the game and who's your favorite character. For me, the best design goes to Oswald. However, in terms of the gameplay, I think Cornelious and Mercedez are way better. Till then, take care and I'll see you all in the next one. See ya!